In case you missed it, here is my full conversation with Cole Hammer, a guy who did everything at the amateur level, making his way on the professional circuit by way of the Korn Ferry Tour. He is a regular contributor now to 5 Clubs. Here is episode 1 with Cole Hammer. Good morning, my friend. How you doing?
Good morning, Gary. Cannot complain. It's a little bit cold down here in Houston, but other than that, doing fantastic.
Hey, listen, I know it's a big day in the Hammer household. Mom's birthday. Happy birthday to her. I know you're going to have a little celebratory dinner tonight. All the best to them. And as I said, Cole, you know, when you and I started talking, just to share this with everybody, I said, look, I want this to be about your journey. And yeah, at times you and I are going to talk about golf and a good week you had, and maybe even a bad week you had. But I want people to understand that you're on a journey. It's self-exploration, it's growth, it's development. And you're like, you know what, I want to do that. So let's do just that. And let me start with this, you know, as somebody who has wanted to do this basically his whole life. This is not something you woke up when you were 18 and said, I want to do this. You played in the U.S. Open when you were 15. And in a young life like yours, junior golf and going to junior tournaments, their parents present, and then you go off to college and you're with the team and you travel together and you practice together. Now you're doing this as a professional, and it can be very lonely. What has loneliness at times taught you about you?
Yeah, no, you're totally right. In junior golf, family members, parents are traveling with me. And all junior golfers for that matter. And then in college, you have a built-in team and a support system. So you're not making, you know, plane flight reservations, hotel reservations. You're not renting a car on your own. All of that's kind of done for you. And, you know, obviously that changes when you know, decide to put professional next to your name. And, it's taught me a lot. Luckily, I still am traveling with a really good friend of mine, Nick Costello, who's my caddy. And so I've dodged the loneliness bullet, you know, a little bit in that sense. But actually, right when I turned pro, I traveled the whole summer, you know, by myself. And that was kind of an eye-opening experience for me. I learned, you know, what kind of makes me tick as an individual versus with a team. You know, when I was in college, I used to hate getting up early. I used to hate plane flights, and now that's completely flipped just because I'm making that decision now. Like, I'm totally a morning person. And if you had told me that when I was 18, I wouldn't have believed you. So I try to get my practice rounds in early, and now I love people watching at airports, and flying is a great time for me to decompress. So, you know, there is definitely some loneliness out there, but there are perks to, you know, being independent as well.
You told me when we were on the phone a little bit over a week ago that you now love traveling. Why do you think that is?
I do. And like I said, you know, I didn't really enjoy it, you know, in college. But now it's become one of my favorite hobbies. Growing up in Houston, you know, obviously traveled for junior events and whatnot, but we're typically traveling to Florida or Georgia, you know, places with warm climates, and you know, not traveling that far. And since turning pro, I've been lucky enough to kind of globetrot, you know, kind of just in North and South America. Haven't made it over to Europe as a professional yet, but I've seen some incredible places and meeting new people and seeing cultures that, you know, I wasn't familiar with growing up. You know, immersing myself in a culture where English is not the primary language, and having to figure out, you know, how to get around and just kind of adapting to the environment that I'm in. And then I am a huge sucker for natural beauty. And so, you know, whenever I'm near an ocean or in the mountains, so, you know, in Panama a couple weeks ago, you know, right on the ocean. And then, you know, in the middle of the summer, we go to Denver, and I like to go hiking in Rocky Mountain National Park. So I'm not afraid to get out and be adventurous when I go to these places, just because, I might not ever find myself back there and golf is a great excuse to get me to these places. So, yeah, I've fallen in love with it.
I heard something and read it and then read it again from Patrick Rogers, who was, heading into the final round out there in San Diego with a chance to win. And he said, I want to go out tomorrow and not play with the expectation, but play to achieve. And I'm like, God, that is awesome. And expectations are important, but I think sometimes expectations can make you resentful about other people, about things. The idea of going out and achieving things, do you generally try to have a certain state of mind, especially when it comes to competitive round? Where do you want your mind to be when it's time to go?
Yeah, I watched that video a few times from Patrick. I think it was super insightful and something that, yeah, I actually relate with. I had I guess a pretty decorated amateur and junior career, and I was kind of, in the spotlight early on, just having qualified for that U.S. Open when I was 15. And so there were expectations that came along with that. And I didn't really know how to deal with it. I think expectations are great, and kind of flashing forward to now, I think expectations are for yourself, and like process expectations are really important, because if you don't expect, the highest level of discipline or responsibility from yourself, then, those goals, probably will be out of reach. But if you're playing to meet your other people's expectations for outcome, I think it's very limiting. It's almost playing to lose versus, pushing forward to trying to do something great, which is, I think, what Patrick means by achieving. So basically on a daily basis, I expect, I expect myself to work hard and be in the right space mentally when I'm going into a shot, over a shot, before a round. And, and then at the end of the day, I am hoping that it'll lead to great things, but if not, at least I can hang my hat on the fact that I gave it my all. So yeah, it's fun having the opportunity on the Korn Ferry Tour to go out and try to earn my PGA Tour card. In a perfect world, that happens at the end of this year, and I'd be over the moon about it. But I'm not gonna set an expectation that I have to do it, because that's just perfectionism at the end of the day. And as we all know, in golf, that's pretty much unachievable. And so I expect to believe in myself. I expect to, work hard. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to push towards achieving my goals.
Well said. You're off to Argentina. I think it's a different golf course. You played well in Argentina last year. Here's the thing. I expect people to invest in you because you're sharing this with us. And like you said, hey, look, you have certain expectations of yourself. You've got certain goals, and that's the pursuit, and that's the fun part. Like I said, I'm excited that you're a part of this with us, and looking forward to be checking in with you when it is convenient for you. We don't want this to be a burden. We want this to be something you're going to enjoy. We think you are. Most importantly, we think the viewer is going to enjoy you sharing your insights along the way. Happy birthday to Mom. Look forward to talking to you and being with you throughout the year. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Gary. Hopefully next time we talk, my Spanish is a little bit better.
There is Cole Hammer. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Cole Hammer. You can look forward to conversations with him all year long right here at 5 Clubs.